landing from Val in a reload. Even time for it. Sky is just working them into neutral.
Tá bem posicionado pra punir ele. 3 kills do Art. E ele quer mais. Olha o Artzinho!
Welcome back. I am joined by Josh RT of G2 Esports. Josh, I got to ask coming into that one, were you expecting a completely different composition? And 2, how do you think the team handled it?
One, we didn't expect that composition. It's honestly a really good comp with the Sage involved. We handled it really well. I noticed the comp swap and made sure the players knew how to play against the Sage and all the various moves that they would do. And sure enough, they ran exactly what we thought they would do. So props to my team to quickly adjust on the fly. And they were playing really together to beat the Sage comp.
Awesome. Well, best of luck in the next game. Congrats on the win.
Welcome back. Well, G2 took the fight to MIBR, and they were successful, winning their map pick on Icebox. And I think it's safe to say that Icy was on fire.
Yeah, especially in that second half. I think he made a big difference on that Gecko. Many rounds where he got multi-kills, many rounds where he got massive impact with the Thrash that shut down, I think, key momentum moments for MIBR late in the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, getting multiple Thrash connections in the same round, like back-to-back, all that, not easy. But he was, finding some great timings with that, straight up winning them rounds. I mean, we were looking at him in the first half, and I remember, I think it was either Baby or Doug that had mentioned how he looked so comfortable on Icebox compared to other maps. And then he kind of started slow, and it was worrying, and then really, really stepped things up when the side swapped on defense. But I'm sure the statistical difference is pretty huge, but like, come on. I mean, when you're getting multi-man Thrash kills like that, you're just going to win out those post-plant situations every time. And going up against an MIBR comp that was so, to me, great on retakes, being able to shut that down. Like, I mean, yeah, look at this right now. The ACS first half, 119, second half, 273. He stepped it up so much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it just goes to show that, like, having a Gecko in your comp kind of makes a difference. And, like, MIBR, they had Gecko. They brought out the Gecko. And that composition, like, we saw so many great examples of why Gecko is important to have, like, on your side.
Yeah, 100%. I love the comp that they swapped to. I'm glad they took the risk and did it. That's what I was really looking for from them, because they've been so static with their comps and how they're approaching the game this year. And finally, we switched it up. And there were so many moments of just obvious Gecko value. How explosive your A hits can be with the Dizzy coming over top, a KO flash, deep back sight, scaling off that. It's so good. And yeah, I mean, you just couldn't more clearly see the difference when you have this agent in the comp. I mean, there was the moment right here where side swap, defense pistol round, just the Dizzy coming through over top. You're going to see right now, having to adjust the crosshair, quadruple swing. Like, goddamn, where has this MIBR been? Like, this is exactly what I want to see. And yes, they did lose this map, but it's G2's pick. They beat Lev on it last week. This is their home turf. I really am still impressed by MIBR.
I think this is the closest map that MIBR has had all split long, right? I think this was very winnable, if not for key moments, especially late in the map. I mean, we saw that, second to last round, right? RGL putting the pit down and causing MIBR to fall down into a player that was about to get locked down in Valorant in that situation. Moments like that, I mean, could have made the difference in this game. Could have been an MIBR win.
I mean, situations like in that last clip, like, Wingman is so good. Like, when you're in a 2v2 and you can just put it on the spike there and stick, and you're forcing them to run at you, I mean, like, it's just, the agent is so good.
And both teams had, like, many moments like that where there's value coming from it.
Absolutely,
We just talked about Icy, right?
Yeah, no, Icy was amazing. Well, you know what? Let's hear what the MIBR coach has to say ahead of map 2.
Thank you very much, guys. I am joined by Bazooka, coming off a tough loss, but really well played with elimination on the line, bringing out a new comp. How is the vibes of the team now after that game?
We know we play good. We just had some problems to close off some rounds. So just like keep calm and just keep doing our job.
All right, Bazooka, thank you so much. Good luck in the rest of the series.
Well, Sounds like calm is the name of the game. Like, we were talking about this, and like they were going back and forth, like on Icebox. It could have been anyone's game, essentially, you know, which was surprising. Where has this MIBR been, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's late in the season right now, and they look more motivated than ever, right? Again, I bring it back. 2 key mistakes could have made this an MIBR win or at least overtime. So let's see how this continues, because that was G2's map pick. We're going to bind right now, where I honestly expect a little switch up here as well.
Yeah, I do as well. I'm trying to recall what they played last time MIBR.
It was the
like
KO,
double initiator, KO, and Sky, I believe, on that
Which
map.
fits perfectly if you just do one simple switch, right, for one of those initiators to go with what everybody else is playing on the map right now.
Yeah, just bring in the Sky. I mean, yeah, either one. Either one works with the Gecko on the map if they want to make a switch, and I think they will. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm expecting the switch up there.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly seems like they're bringing out the big guns, because, I mean, like, you don't want to be 0-2. What, 4 times? Would this be the 4th time?
I mean, I think they're going to be regretting that they just didn't do this earlier. They're immediately seeing success with this on Icebox. Like, I know they lost the map, but this is so much better than we've seen them in their other games so far. I think they're going to regret not doing this earlier, but better late than never. It's not like they don't have a shot to make playoffs. They need to win these 2 games.
Let me say this, though. I think G2 is playing phenomenal as well.
100%.
I think they handled that comp switch very well. You heard Josh talk about it in the interview right there with Riv, how, you know, they talked about the things that they were expecting and how they came and how they dealt with it. I do think G2 did a lot more cheating than you kind of can with the rotates that they had on Icebox, where it's not going to be available here on Bind. But let's see how this actually plays out, because I think there is room for great calling here from VALORANT against MIBR.
G2 are straying away from the Yoru on this map, which Ice was playing before. So they're going back to, I mean, not going back to, but rather just going to the very meta comp. And here we go, just a mirror match. Glad to see this from MIBR. This is a good comp. Straight up mirror. This is their map pick. I mean, listen, I still have some hope.
Yeah, and Hopium is the name of the game. Now let's find out if MIBR can take this one to a map 3 and send it back to our casters. Here's Doug and Baby Bay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think there are a lot of questions around this bind map, but I do think the one thing as we think about what we just saw on Icebox and try to translate it into the next Stray is fundamentally both teams were doing the right things. They're doing them well. It's just those little things that were the difference maker on map 1.
Yeah, I think this is good for both teams, honestly. I've seen MIBR have great performances on Bind.
Yep.
And honestly, G2, again, another really strong map for them. I mean, like when you think of G2, me personally playing against them, the 2 hardest maps that I played against them were actually Icebox and Bind. It just seems like on these maps where there's a lot of util heavy delays and stuff like that to deny bomb plants and etc., G2 thrive on those type of maps. So this is going to be an uphill battle for MIBR, but again, it is a strong map for them as well, I would say.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure on Icy's shoulders on this map because, again, we've seen that he shows proficiency, he feels comfortable on the Gecko role, but when it's a single duelist role, when there's a lot of pressure on him to take space, how does he handle that? He's already fallen, but G2 were able to trade back a couple of kills of their own. We're at 3 apiece. That deep flash is going to be good. The problem is, though, Trent.
He has the bomb.
And he's segmented off the rest of the team.
He's going to have to ask for reinforcements. Valen not skipping a beat from last map with the nice 1-tap.
And that gives Trent a lot more room to join back up with Jonah P. Valen's still healthy. They're going to get the spike down. Meanwhile, RGL is still in spawn, concerned for a late flank from A.
Man, isn't it fun not having to plant the bomb yourself?
It certainly makes the game easier. They have to know that there could be someone on the flank, right? Jonah P and Trent both holding the line, taking a little bit of damage. Mazine with a lot to do here.
Look at how G2 shifting the fight over to CT.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
They understand that Mazine is going to be scared to move forward right away, so they can take the 3v1 onto the CT player.
Yeah, they don't have to give him the fight. Now it's RGL who has a lot to... Oh, no. You're right.
I mean, I'm just jinxing everybody today.
Trent can still win this thing. RGL is so weak. Yeah. That's how that ends. What a mad round. The Red Bull clutch for G2.
Yeah, exactly. That's how that ends. And I mean, if you're MIBR again on these retakes, it just seems like they set him up so well, right? You see RGL there get 2 on the back site. You'll see it shortly. And they're just not aware of the one gap that Trent could be in. I mean, the odds of him being in hookah are near slim. So he's either going to be in elbow or he's going to be in CT trying to get a wraparound.
Right.
So Mazin just jumping the gun there. Didn't really need to do much. And RGL maybe just use smoke off elbow or hookah there and not have to worry about both.
Oh, Gamble's back B from MIBR. Nothing is found, but they've already sent RGL into showers.
For a second, I was going to call RGL a maniac for solo grabbing that orb, but now I understand. If he had gotten pinched from behind, yeah, he would have had everybody to TP with. So
I mean, they've done a really good job of reestablishing control showers off the Gamble, so it kind of works out, and they're flooded out onto the site. This might lean in their favor. They've got a shorty in the hands of Artzine. They're all huddled in with the flash in the face of Trent. That's a big one, and you're just going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get swarmed. And that's what happens. Can Icy hold the line? Only one is found. Another messy, chaotic round, this time potentially going sideways for G2. Jonah P with a nice flash, and it's not going to matter. Leaf is left alone.
Time's running out.
It's so short. He just got to kill the right guy, and he does. What a kill. What are these rounds?
Leaf is him.
Right, I love this.
Dude, the focus to find that target, the only one that mattered, with all of that other noise on the screen is just crazy.
And again, MIBR whiffing when it really truly matters. They do everything right up until the closing moments. I mean, the spacing was great, everything was great, but that one whiff from Mazin
and everyone else who was there, I mean, he faced 3 people.
He swung into 3 and still killed the bomb.
That's crazy. And so alas, it's been a silly start to the map. G2 with a 2-round lead. The buy is so light.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, if you're MIBR, you can honestly just stack on top of the bomb diffuser and just be a body bag and you'd win the round. It's just crazy how they're losing some of these rounds.
But into the next we go, Artzine feeling a lot of the pressure. Trying to try to peek out in front of the smoke. Manages to control the spray.
Great trade.
Oh. Again, the gun's not great here, so for G2, this has been massive.
Oh yeah! Monster on the loose!
I love this too. They're settling, not playing into the chaos, slowing things down just a little bit.
Man, Leaf has been such a big part of this team's success.
I mean, he's been a rock.
He's so good at the game. I was wondering when I'd see Leaf on bind, on Viper on bind again.
He's back.
There's no slouch to it. His days on Cloud9 trained him to play the Viper on G2. It's crazy to think about.
And so we have a few minutes to talk. Because there's not a whole lot going on right now. So honestly, we had this conversation about MIBR in the second half of Icebox, about how snowball-y things can be and how it felt like MIBR had a great opportunity. It's the exact same conversation, but it's on the other side for G2 here. They're going to have a ton of rifles going into the next. Yeah, they're going to have to buy some armor, but this is a great start for G2. And they did that with what? A Bulldog and I think Stinger, and then everything else is pistols. They didn't have much going into this.
Yeah, but the player with the Bulldog Leaf went huge.
Yeah.
And this trade through the smoke from Trent, that was clean.
And so keep an eye on him, on how things can roll for G2 here. They have plenty of money. They've got a couple of members who are halfway to having their ult online. I think that's the one maybe like if you're going to min-max your way through the first 3 rounds. So one thing that's kind of lacking. But other than that, G2 are in a great spot.
Yeah, when you're on the winning side of these weird little rounds.
That was weird.
I was going to say you can tend to snowball them out of control, but Icy gets caught lacking there holding the angle on the hookah push.
Little jump spot. Jonah P had the right angle.
I wonder if Jonah's going to read into this that it's a bait setup. I feel like JZZ maybe oversold his commitment onto that. Regardless, this dog will be able to tell.
Destroyed.
I mean, Jonah saw, yeah, he saw Mazin for sure. He looked to the left. Also, when someone's just running at a Skydog like that, it's just even more obvious. So this is going to be good for G2.
Blinded.
Jonah's just keeping him here, and they're going to get wrapped at any moment now if the rotate doesn't come in.
Oh, they're committing to the Hookah fight. They take the telly, and Val's there to greet him.
It's just so unnecessary if you're MIBR. You're up 5v4, and you randomly take a TP off of no audio cue or anything. And now that's going to open up Jonah to bait rotates to this A side. He's here to full commit, and that's why Mazin runs into Hookah there. But JZZ, what was that?
Clean shots to keep it competitive, but ultimately, he's the last one alive. One away from ult. I think there's an opportunity for Vandal close by, but it's not going to matter. So I think there are a few things that G2 did there exceptionally well, and then we can talk about how MIBR kind of forced things a little bit, right?
Yeah.
G2 cut noise, or excuse me, they made a bunch of noise like they were rotating away through Hookah, and then they cut noise, push back in. That manipulated the rotations over to A, and then from their point it was fights. But you're right, it felt like MIBR forced it a tiny bit or a lot of it.
And I'm just so confused why MIBR held their setup in Octagon for so long. That's ultimately what made the rest of the members at A site make a random TP play, because they knew they were going to get crunched at any moment. Just ask for the Viper wall to go up for you and just get out. Play a retake. You know you're not the heavy side. You either want to push all the way down long in that scenario or get out and play a retake setup, because they have all of Hookah. They know they have the info on you that you're playing long. I mean, if you just sit there for too long, you're going to get pinched eventually. It would have came through. G2 would have made that pinch happen, and they would have gotten punished.
But instead, MIBR forced the matter. They tried to take TP, and again, Valen just kind of farmed there. So MIBR call a timeout, down 4 rounds early on. And this is, again, the snowball, it's starting to grow. 4 rounds already, still plenty of money. We'll see as soon as we get back into the action. G2 have a couple of members close to ult still, so this has the potential to get out of hand.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what happens when you lose such close rounds, like the way that MIBR have been losing some of these.
Yeah.
Where it comes down to like a 1v1 or even on the retake, right? Leaf getting that kill amongst 3 players shooting. You start to put self-doubt in you, in your calling, in your protocols, everything like that. And it just ends up making the opposing team just snowball you.
Yep.
Contact play and Hookah this time. FRZ can't get caught lacking here. Ooh. This is good from G2. They just want to push off this Hookah angle. They're going to leave one, take pressure on other sides of the map. That's why you see this Sky throw a flash in the shower. All signs right now are showing to A after that Hookah deny.
And what that's intended to do is it's supposed to get MIBR to move, and maybe Valen gets a late one.
Exactly. This is going to be a TP commit play, I believe.
Yeah, I think
all G2 are doing right now is just baiting utility out, and that's the big kill. That's gets the TP to come through.
That's the cue for them to go.
It's a 5v1 on site. Utility flooding everywhere.
They look like a puppet master out here. But it's not going to be enough. Oh! One gets caught.
Oh my gosh.
Fortunately for G2, the rest of them had cleared the ult already. Spike planted. Leaf now has his pit.
Oh man.
They have no choice but to save. What a beautiful display from G2.
Yeah, and this might be one of those halves where Bazooka's gonna have to call 2 timeouts.
Potentially, yeah. Because it's a snowball now. I mean, this thing is huge. It's rolling.
I mean, I spoke about it earlier, about how it feels to play G2 on a map like this. It just feels so suffocating with the way that they play. I mean, everything that they did there was to bait out rotations, and it was perfect.
And then also, I mean, that kill from Leaf down low.
Yeah.
That opens up everything.
That's his one job to do on that lurk. And who better of a player would you want?
Yeah, exactly. He's
do that.
So we've called him a rock. We've called him so steady. We've called him like he's been in so many of these clutch, tense moments, a cornerstone for this team.
Something about those duelist players that switch over to that Sentinel role, they have the confidence to take a lot of 1v1s, and when it goes their way, man, it just feels like you can't do anything.
Then getting the pit down 2 just opens everything up. That's tragic.
Yeah.
But 5 rounds in a row, plenty of money, really nothing lost. Valen 1 away from having his ult. MIBR, they've got something to fight back with here.
And the pace change.
Yeah, at the perfect time. Again, another nod to how good VALORANT has been. This call is perfect.
Nothing here to delay the plant either.
Spike planted.
Trent went away from having his ult online. Joining VALORANT. The thing is, they're getting crunched, so they're going to have to deal with the fight on multiple fronts. Icy with a big kill.
Nice entry from Icy.
Oh,
nice!
My gosh. That's a second. Now Trent dealing with what's coming from behind him. 47 HP, has to take a step back. Icy's been steady. And he's able to help here.
3 in the round.
Holy smokes, this is falling apart for MIBR.
Okay, Icy. Learning from previous mistakes of other series, repositioning really well this time. I feel like a lot of the times when he gets the first kill, he kind of gets punished trying to get the second, but this time he knows he doesn't even need to do too much. Get your first kill, fall back, play with your team, let them come into you and just hold.
Enemy down.
I mean, it sets you up for free kills like this, and when you have the star roster of some of these G2 players, you really don't need to do much to look good.
And again, we talk so much about confidence in VALORANT and how series can be won or lost because of that.
Yeah.
Because of confidence. And for G2, particularly for Icy, he feels good.
You know, especially with these young guys, you know, you're like, oh, what version of them are we going to get today? For C9, it's, are we going to get Scrim Oxy today? I think we're seeing Scrim Icy right now.
Yeah, I would agree. And, you know, we haven't talked about it as much, and, you know, he hasn't necessarily performed the same way, right, as people would have expected, but what I'm hearing from the streets is that there is a Scrim Icy, and he's a freak, too.
Yeah, I played against him, dude, I know. This guy can drop 30s just as easily as Oxy. It's just a matter of time before he can translate it into these matches, and
One enemy remaining.
He's doing
this could be a start to something great, I should say.
It's been a start to a great map for G2 so far. 7-0. Plenty of money, plenty of ults. This is a full-blown avalanche at this point.
Yeah, G2 just look like they can't handle the weather right now. I mean, sorry, MIBR look like they can't handle the weather right now.
That's done.
Let's go, Icy!
Icicle.
Big dog.
And again,
teammates can feel it too.
Yeah, you're gassing up your guy. He's been such a source of conversation over the first couple of weeks for G2, and you know, can he deliver because he hasn't, and you know, is he the right fit? And we talked about how he seems comfortable on Gekko, but how is he going to perform when he's the only duelist, when it's on him to create space, him to go? So far, so good. What can our team do to counter, though? An ult online?
Oh, he's feeling it for sure right now.
They've crossed paths, and Icy gets 2. Leaf with the 3rd.
Off the rocket timing of Artzine. You just saw Icy go flying over truck, killing 2 players in CT. Oh, 1 player in CT and 1 behind him, so he pulled a 180. He's a little freaky right now, I must say. And nothing going the way of MIBR. They just have no answers right now.
Meanwhile, Scrim Icy has arrived. How many kills is he at so far?
I think he's at like 9 or something. He's been getting back-to-back multi-kills as well. I think that's the key difference.
Yeah.
In general, he has a pretty good first kill, first death stat line. It's just he was getting traded quite a bit against a lot of these other teams.
Sure.
Right now, he's able to string 2, 3 kills together, like a lot of other star duelists in the league.
Enemy remaining.
So these are really good signs for G2.
And it's only, I mean, it's only getting worse for MIBR. They couldn't even save a ton of weapons. They're only able to carry 1 weapon into the next round.
No,
so even the little things that they need to do to try to keep this competitive aren't going their way. There's that satchel that you just mentioned. Icy off of the Q from Artzine using his satchels forward, gets 2 kills back sight.
That was sick.
And there's just no control for MIBR.
I love how the one MIBR highlight in this clip was just JZZ killing someone not looking at him.
Yeah,
because that's the only way they've been able to get kills this half.
That's been the one silver lining.
And that's the second time out, I believe, yeah?
Yeah, you're right. You mentioned it. It's felt like a half where Bazooka might have to call 2 timeouts in it. It's exactly what happens.
I mean, you have to. You got to tell your team right now, yo, get your head out of your behinds right now, because this is getting out of control. This is not how things should be going, especially with how competitive the last map was. But the emotions and maybe the frustrations setting in to MIBR after the set of rounds that perhaps they shouldn't have lost.
So that's a relic, the guard jersey in the crowd. Yeah, that's wild. 8-0 for 8-0 for G2, man. And you're right, those little things aren't going their way. The perhaps frustration building up. Who knows? But I think you said it really well a couple of rounds ago, where you mentioned that it feels suffocating when you're playing against G2 on bind, and MIBR on their last breath here.
I mean, they're getting outshot. They're getting out rotated.
Come on, little homies.
They can't get a retake win. At this point, what can they do?
We've seen variety in how G2 have wanted to approach these attack paths. We've seen contact, we've seen manipulating rotations, we've seen fast hits. It seems a little bit slower here, but that does seem like that's the intent. They hit
a good start.
Oh, it's huge. They hit 2, but RGL was there to keep the line back. VALORANT pushing forward, Jonah P close by. They have so much space.
I can't help but feel like this is going to be another G2 round win, because they play these post plants, especially in these like weird, awkward 2v2s or 3v2s so well.
Oh, chill, you've jinxed a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm trying to help MIBR out to at least win one round.
Jonah P flushed out, trying to hold the line.
Standing.
Cannot. As the Molly causes problems, Trent in a clutch situation. Trent, who's delivered for this squad so many times in positions such as these, is going to have to do it again. The Molly soars by his face, drops one of his own. FRZ going to try to get to half, flies to it. I don't know that Mazine can do this. Wingman 10. Oh my goodness, Trent does it again.
I mean, he played it perfectly. He understands that they actually have to get half. MIBR has to get half there if they want to win the round. There's no way around it. It's too easy for him. That's what he's saying right now. What are these guys doing?
He makes it look easy. And that was off of an opener, man. That was without Icy taking space. You're right.
Crazy, but I don't know why MIBR is just flooding out of the CT smoke, trying to get a trade so bad. Even with RGL going down there, he got 2 before he died. You're still at 4v3. I mean, just calm the round down and go into your actual set post plant that you have. But right now, they're just so desperate to win a round. They're just trying to peek, and
this feels forced. JZZ's playing in the smoke. And
I mean, they're ready for it, though. Maybe not anymore because of that flash.
A little bit of info is all it was. I thought he was going to try to take the fight. So once again, MIBR with an opener. Can they convert it to a round win, though?
Ooh, Trent got a vicious timing here. Might have to TP off of this. The dog never cleared him. Oh, no.
How much damage can he do? Looks like they're going to try to pop out towards B. They have some hookah space. They have no info what's happening A.
Yeah, it's tough because this Viper's Pit went down. So they might have an idea that there is a Viper's Pit somewhere at A. You don't know if it's short or in shower. But this site exec is so hard to hold. If this Gecko Molly lands on default with a nade back site, there's going to be nowhere for MIBR to play.
Icy saturated.
There's the Gecko Molly.
There's the util that you mentioned, and they cracked the site open again.
It's impossible to hold against that. But Mazine,
he's the only one here. He's got
left.
so much to do. Can he contain? Can you imagine? He just plays his life. Icy creeping forward, trying to get the kill, finds it.
Oh man, he's looking so good right now. I'm so happy for him.
2v2 though. Not out of the woodworks yet. They've gotten the spike down, but they're both so weak.
The reposition too.
104 HP across both of them, and is that going to be enough? FRZ left alone. That Molly. It's
a great Molly.
Oh, Leaf is so weak. He dies to it. Icy on the swing. Can he land the shots? FRZ clutches it out. Oh, they finally got around.
I feel like we get so close to seeing a 13-0, and then around 9-10, the enemy team wins a round. It's like clockwork at this point with me and you, Doug. But, I mean, great job from MIBR to finally slow it down in that 2v2.
Yeah.
It almost got scary, though.
And that was, again, off of an opener. They find themselves in these numbers advantages, and then it's heroics off of G2. It's ridiculous moments. It feels like MIBR are kind of letting go out of their hand that keeps it competitive.
They need to use this momentum to string these last couple of rounds together if they want any chance of making a comeback into this game.
And even then, the chances are slim, bro.
Yeah, it's a tough ask against a defense side of G2 who honestly will just delay the bomb for like centuries. It feels
Forever,
like. Yeah.
They've taken some space showers. They're proactive on denying space, denying the map, which is well done. And they're playing soft on B, so.
Oh, this rocket, is this damage? Nah, no damage on the JZZ this time.
Tucked around the corner. So what did G2, or what do MIBR have, excuse me, to try to take this thing back? The only ult they have is JZZ's. They've got to know the sky is close. They're really taking their time with this. Maybe too patient? Icy still gets, oh, it was Valen who got it, excuse me. Either way, they're getting a couple of kills that they need, but G2 refusing to relent.
One enemy remaining.
Man. It's just too clean from G2 right now. The teamwork is in full effect.
Yeah, and on the side of MIBR, I hate to say it, but I feel like we're watching a different team from what we saw in Icebox.
Yeah, they've definitely broken down.
That was an MIBR that we talked about. Winning clutch moments. Our team looked incredible. They were doing the small things well. They were playing the map perfectly, and they're still trying to do some of it. You saw them take a ton of space showers right at the beginning. They, are trying to contain what G2 are doing, but once it gets into the messy moments, once it gets into the chaos of the gunfights, they're just not landing the shots.
One enemy remaining.
Chad. Leaf, although he was smoked off there, it makes it obvious that the retake is coming in and they can only come from one spot. So as everyone on the site is actually fighting, Leaf just needs to just spam in that general direction and just create even more chaos, maybe get a kill or two or a couple tags to mess up the peaks of MIBR on the entry. So it's just really good play from G2 right now, playing really well together.
They were so effective in the chaos on Icebox, MIBR were, but this is, a shadow of what we saw previously.
Shad. I mean, G2 have been so committed on these last, like, 5 rounds on where they want to go and what they want to do.
I mean, G2 can do no wrong here.
Yeah. It's all because of how G2 started off this half with all the lurks that they had and all the different layers that they had. It opened up the later part of the half for them to just full commit onto site splits or just site hits off of one lane.
And even just look at this moment right now. They're having to use these mollies. They're having to try to find some space from so far away, where it feels like, much like the entire half, they've been suffocated out.
Crazy.
11-1 in favor of G2, and yes, it was a 2v4 at the end there and the spike was planted, but that just felt like a perfect representation of how the half has felt for MIBR.
Yeah, and if you're MIBR, this is basically elimination from Shanghai.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is heartbreaking right here.
With backs against the ropes, they looked formidable on Icebox, but again, a shell of the team that we saw just, what, an hour ago?
We got 5.
And again, not to take anything away from what G2 are doing, because they're playing it perfectly. I think there's a whole lot going on here on both sides. So G2 11-1 at half. That scoreline really tells us everything we need to do. Let's take a listen to Icy. We got to chat with him and find out how he feels about his performance here in stage 1.
With this being my first year in VCT Americas, my personal performance, I think the first 2 games, I was kind of just getting used to the stage, like I had some jitters here and there, and I think like slowly, like each game, like I'm getting more comfortable playing on stage, and within the team, like I just feel like I'm realizing my role and like what needs to happen, and yeah, I'm getting more and more confident.
Well, he seems far more comfortable than the first couple of weeks. Like he said, if there were jitters there, if he was just getting comfortable with the stage, it seems like it's gone, right? Because he's playing well, and he's playing well on both roles. We talked about the Gecko and how that's such a different ask. Now he's on the raise, he's creating space, he's going forward, and he's winning out these duels that, quite frankly, week 1 and week 2, we would see him lose every time.
Yeah, actually. You're 100% right about that. But it is good because, like I said, I've had the experience of playing against him, especially in the off season when I was still deciding if I was going to play or not. And he was really good. Like, he was really good on raise. He looked nice. I haven't got to really play against his jet too much, but he's solid on raise. That's why G2 picked him up. They needed a raise player.
Right.
And obviously Leaf is a monster on this Sentinel role too. So
it's a good sign when Josh is laughing at halftime.
I can't even imagine what they're saying right now. They're like, can you believe the first map was that close?
The duality of man.
So
Josh laughing and Bazooka with, I mean, I can't imagine what he's saying to his team, but I'm sure it's not nearly as encouraging or as happy as what's happening on the other side.
That's so tough. They, like, in kickoff, just like the Death said, that, like, I thought they looked really well and they had a lot of bright sides to look forward to, but they just haven't really been able to put their foot down and have any type of actual success outside of just some close games, maybe a map here or there.
I mean, that timeline is dreadful.
Yeah.
Right, and so much like MIBR in a must-win situation, not just in the map, not just in the series, given playoff implications, but in the pistol. This goes without saying.
Trent just sitting there for a lineup?
Yeah, I think so. They have to win this round. They have to.
I think this is like almost a play out of Hunter Thieves' book from the other day, where it's like basically a Sky playing an off angle and then a double flash play to pinch anybody B long, but MIBR reading into this, they don't want to mess with that B long at all.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, they knew something was up. And they're picking the right side to hit here. And all Icy's job is here is to just throw that nade to delay the Gecko plant. That's it. He needs the nade little buddy. Hopefully buy enough time for his team to rotate in.
And right on cue, he has the nade out.
Oh, such a weird plant spot, though. I don't know if this will actually kill. It does! That's huge!
The guy's doing his job. You mentioned it, and now they're going to be applying pressure in from showers, and they have to go forward if they want to maintain control of the site.
And he knows.
I mean, they've got him corralled in. There's no way out. They have nowhere to go. They can't take Telly because they've lost short, but our team and FRZ finding the kills they need. 13 seconds left. Options are limited. Time is brief. Can they get this down? Can they get the spike down? They will. They'll get the kills, and the ever-needed pistol goes away of MIBR.
It's a start.
It's a start.
I don't know what more I can say. I do like MIBR's reactions to having that bomb be delayed and them not overextending into CT at the wrong time.
Sure.
I like how they just cut noise, took control of the entire site, and then fought together. It's a good protocol to have, especially against a team that likes to play heavy delay, for the rotates to come in and just likes to stall the bomb out. But how long can you keep that up? Because eventually it's just going to all go not your way.
The snowbally nature of how Valorant is playing right now just makes it to where you have no room for errors, right? If you're on the receiving end of what G2 just did in the first half, you have to play perfect Valorant the rest of the way, and that's such a difficult task.
Yeah.
But again, the snowball can go either way, so we'll see how it plays out. MIBR get the spike down. G2 choosing not to invest at all. Maybe get a couple of exits on the way out, but this round should go off without really any sort of drama.
Ooh.
Naturally, as I say that, a kill goes in favor of G2.
Leave it to Leaf. He's so good, man.
Yeah, he's unreal. And so MIBR will work their way to their third, and this is where the half is likely decided, right? Because once again, we go into this bonus situation. Can the snowball go the way of MIBR?
This is such good damage. They might get a Vandal here, too.
One enemy remaining.
I'm really jinxing everything today.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you really are. I don't think I've seen you in this form before.
Man, these teams are gonna start trying to pay me off to not jinx them.
So yeah, MIBR get their third. This is where the half is ultimately decided. Because if MIBR can get the snowball going their way, there is a reasonable shot at a comeback.
And they know that too, and that's why you see a big investment on their side. They know that they have to buy into this. Them losing those two Bulldogs might have worked in their favor, actually. So they're forced to full commit to this buy because it really is all or nothing right now.
There's my buddy.
You have to be near perfect to make this comeback. And if they do, it would be a hell of a story.
There's still so much Valorant to be played between then and now. G2 being proactive, taking a little bit of space with the dog down B-long, confirming there's no one there. And you see Leaf has to give it up. Hearing the Dizzy, hearing all the util. Oh, Val's gone exploring JZZ. Ready for it. staring each other down.
It's such a hard angle if you're Valen to actually peek into. But that kill might have JZZ walk for something to try to even numbers, but Valen takes his head clean off.
It's that tough angle that you were mentioning. And now MIBR left in disarray. 3 left to try to win this round back in the face of Trent's ult too.
Launching smoke.
And all these smokes that Valen still has up. I mean, this is the delay that you were mentioning, right? Between all of the utility that G2 have at their disposal, there's really no options to get into the site.
So hard to play against.
And RGL's trying to get away.
Enemy down.
Will get his get a couple kills.
No bomb though.
Yeah, and no time.
Yeah, all Leaf has to do here is just live. Icy takes RGL's head clean off as well.
And so now G2 find themselves on series point, but I think on top of that, we've got to discuss the possibility of, I mean, MIBR find themselves staring down the barrel of playoff elimination.
Yeah, and Trent has ult. Jonah P is what, 2 off? I mean, even if you string a couple rounds together, you're gonna go up against a G2 who plays their utility so well on this map, and then you're adding 3 different ults into the mix potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, there's not a lot of hopium right now for MIBR fans.
Such a dire situation to consider the possibility of your stage being done, Shanghai being off the table, and you're down 3-12. Trent's gonna get a little bit of info.
Oh,
he's gonna tag JCC.
gosh.
He gets the kill. Oh my gosh, what?
There's the Brim ult, right? Front side. I thought he was gonna do it into U-Haul. No need to.
I mean, this is Raps.
They know someone's in CT.
It's been Raps for a few rounds now. Mazine, the only one left standing. And MIBR go home with a whimper. 13-3 on Bind. They get destroyed. And just like that, their stage is over.
That's a feels bad manner for MIBR, but if you're looking on the other side, this is a big win for G2. And the way that they did it.
Yeah.
Especially on that last map. Yeah, the first map was back and forth. It's good that they brought it back and won. But to come here in the second map and the performance that Icy had in the beginning of this like attack side, I mean, he was the main reason why they won a lot of these rounds.
Yeah.
He was getting in there in the chaos and thriving in it. That's something we didn't really see him doing much often.
Oh, 1000%. Yeah, that's my big takeaway from the series, because I think you look at this and you're kind of favoring G2 over MIBR, right? All things considered, but for it to be done in this fashion with Icy looking as good as he did on the Rays, taking space, getting openers, and then obviously when you have all the other pieces working as well as they are, Valen is calling out of his mind right now. You know, Leaf is one of the best players in the game. Like Trent, Jonah P, they're steady for the team every single time. Like, this is a G2 that feels like they're hitting their stride, and yes, it was against an MIBR who struggled, but everything came together today for them.
Yeah, and when you win with scorelines like 13-3, you don't show everyone else that you have to play for the rest of the split your entire hand on the map.
Yeah,
we didn't get to see much of G2's defense, and that's going to work to their benefit going into the next series when they play Bind again, and etc. So it's always good to win maps like this because of that reason.
Yep. As we near crunch time, as we get to the end of the stage, so much to look forward to for G2. He's answered questions about Icy has about how he's going to handle the Rays. He gets more and more comfortable. He mentioned it in that little video that we had with him earlier. He's getting past those beginning jitters, and maybe it's Scrim Icy, maybe it's not, but the guy was the real deal today.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was a young player too, man. It was tough, bro, going on that stage for the first time, especially in front of a crowd and everything. It could be a big shock.
Just drop my pen.
Yeah, it could be a big shock. So shocking that it'll drop your pen. First time, Doug?
Yeah, first time. He is getting acclimated. I'm getting a little nervous on the stage too. Let's throw it down to Riv on the stage for the Verizon post-match interview.
Yeah. What's going on? We're here live on the stage. I don't even have to say give it up for Leaf. There it is right there. G2 Esports with the win. Leaf, it's so good to talk to you after a while. I got to ask, What was your first reaction when you heard Leaf back on Sentinel? This guy who's been a duelist, pushing the front lines, known for all these frags, but still doing it from Sentinel. What were your thoughts?
I mean, it was kind of my decision, not gonna lie.
Okay.
I've played it before on C9 the beginning of last year when we had the Ye and Vanity roster, so I was pretty confident in it. I think I'm obviously a lot better at it now than I was then, but I've learned a lot since then. But I think it's I think it's fun. I like it way more than Duelist.
Why do you think it fits you more than Duelist? Because you can kind of just express yourself on Duelist, but you seem to be really good as LMS.
I mean, I think I'm good at clutch situations, to be honest with you. I think even on Duelist, like, there were rounds where I had really insane clutches. And it's just nice to be able to not, swipe 800 times to clear 800 angles, and I just look at my crosshair and just shoot somebody, and I throw like a post-point molly, so it's pretty fun.
Absolutely. Looking forward, you have Loud coming up, and Sen versus Loud. I want your opinion on that, but also how are you feeling about that matchup?
I mean, Loud's like the #1 team that you really just shouldn't count out ever.
Okay.
I mean, I think Sadhak is literally the best IGL in the game still. Like, he's still playing too. No discredit to Valen, but obviously, like, that guy is a legend of the game. So I think it'll be a fun game. I always like playing against Les. He's like the hardest player to play against too on LAN. So I think it'll be really fun.
All right, with that then, next game, Sen or Loud, who do you got?
For my sake, Loud, because it helps us get to playoffs, but I know a lot of people are Sen fans, so, but I just got to root for my own team.
All right, Lee, thank you so much for the interview. Congrats on the win and moving forward. We are going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. You heard it just there. Sen versus Loud up next.
Look what I've just made. The perfect pearl.
Not too bad, but check this out.
Whoa, a true Venus clam.
Red Bull gives you wings.